What would the most dangerous criminal in the world look like? Come on, let's think about it. He must be tall, big with a scar mark. Wait a minute. Why does the criminal have to be a he? When we think about a criminal, human psychology forces us to picture a man being the ruthless one. But have you ever heard of the Black Widow or cocaine godmother? During the 1980s, Miami was ruled by the most feared female criminal to ever exist on this planet. She was none other than Griselda Blanco. To many people, she was the ruthless, bloodthirsty drug lord who used murder and mayhem as a war to run her billion-dollar drug empire. While for others, she was a loving mother and businesswoman. Well, the world's most dangerous criminal wasn't a man, and here is her story. Watch till the end to know more about her. Let's get started. Griselda Blanco was born in 1943. She started her life of crime at a very early age. She was just 11 when she kidnapped a 10-year-old boy. Not only that, when the victim's parents were unable to pay her a ransom, she went to the extent of killing him with a gun. She was also subjected to physical abuse at home, and as a result, she had to move out of Cartagena and onto the streets of Medellin. She survived there by pickpocketing and even selling her body. At the age of 13, Griselda Blanco met Carlos Trujillo, a smuggler of undocumented immigrants into the United States, and later married him. From that time, she started experiencing the taste of turning crime into a big business. Griselda Blanco and Carlos Trujillo later had 3 sons together, but unfortunately, their marriage didn't last that long. And in the end, Carlos Trujillo was subjected to murder by her former wife, Griselda Blanco, in 1970. And this was the first of her 3 husbands to meet a brutal end. The transition of Griselda Blanco's career into the cocaine industry was brought about by her second husband, Alberto Bravo. They then moved together to Queens, New York, where their business flourished as there they had a direct line to the white powder in Colombia, which took a hefty chunk of business away from the Italian mafia. From here, Griselda Blanco came to be known as the Godmother. She had many ingenious ways of carrying out her business. She had her women flying in planes that used to carry cocaine by hiding them in bras and underwear that were designed by the Godmother herself, especially for that purpose. The business was booming. Alberto Bravo then returned to Colombia to restructure the initial cocaine business export end. And on the other hand, Griselda Blanco continued to expand her business empire in New York. Everything was going quite well until 1975 when Griselda Blanco and Alberto Bravo were busted by a joint NYPD/DEA sting named Operation Banshee, which was the greatest at that time. Everything fell apart. Griselda Blanco managed to escape to Colombia before getting indicted and allegedly killed her then-husband Alberto Bravo in a shootout over missing millions. The legend says that Griselda Blanco pulled a pistol from her boot and shot Alberto Bravo, who in turn shot Griselda Blanco into her stomach from his Uzi. But some people believe that it was not her husband responsible for her death, but the drug lord, Pablo Escobar himself. We are not sure of the truth, but later in an autopsy of Griselda Blanco, it was revealed that she indeed had a bullet scar on her torso. Griselda Blanco's husband was dead, and it was from that moment she earned a new title, Black Widow. She had entire control of the empire of drugs. Despite the bust, she continued to transfer cocaine to the United States, besides running her business in Colombia. In 1976, Blanco allegedly smuggled cocaine aboard a ship named Gloria, and that ship was sent to America by the Colombian government as part of the bicentennial race in New York Harbor. 2 years later, she married Dario Sepulveda, a bank robber, for the 3rd time and gave birth to her 4th son, Michael Corleone, with this man. Having taken the Godmother mantle to heart, she thought it was perfectly fitting to her boy's name after Al Pacino's character from The Godfather. She then decided to set her sights on Miami, where she earned the badge of Queen of Cocaine. Besides being the early pioneer of the cocaine trade in Miami, she used her excellent notorious business skills to get the drug into as many hands as possible, which for a while paid off quite well. She spent her days lavishly in Miami. She had everything from a home to expensive cars and even private jets. She frequently hosted wild parties with all the major players in the drug world. She possessed the wealth that she desperately wanted. After this, if you still think that Griselda Blanco transformed herself to be less violent, you're probably wrong. She went to the extent of gunpointing men and women to have sex with her forcibly. She also got addicted to smoking huge amounts of unrefined cocaine called bazooka, which later contributed to her increasing paranoia. Nevertheless, she occupied a dangerous world. She faced several conflicts from various factions of cocaine dealers like the Medellin cartel, as there was increasing competition at that time. Now the Miami drug war started and continued from 1979 to 1984, and South Florida turned into a war zone. A former homicide detective, Raul Diaz, said, "We called it a war wagon because its sides were covered by quarter-inch steel with gun ports cut into them." The war wagon finally ended up in the hands of the police. By the early 1980s, Griselda Blanco had her hands in piling up bodies throughout the city of Miami, as 70% of America's cocaine and marijuana came through the city. The first 5 months witnessed 70 murders, which rose to 169 in the last 7 months. Miami came to be known as the murder capital of the world. Besides that, Colombian and Cuban dealers were regularly killing each other with submachine guns. One of the experts claimed other criminals killed with intent. They would check before they killed. Blanco would kill first and then say, "Well, he was innocent. That's too bad, but he's dead now." She was merciless and never cared to kill innocent lives, including bystanders, women, and children. If you are unable to pay on time, you and your family will be eliminated. You could be killed if she didn't want to pay you. And if she perceives that you slighted her, you're bumped off. She met Pablo Escobar before Pablo Escobar became notoriously famous. In late 1983, her husband, Dario Sepulveda, made the huge mistake of kidnapping their son Michael Corleone and taking him off to Colombia after they separated. Griselda Blanco killed her third husband, but she didn't do that herself. She sent her most trusted hitman Jorge Rivi Ayala to retrieve her son. She got her son back and eliminated Dario Sepulveda, but this added more names to her enemy list. However, her luck finally ran out a year later. By the end of 1984, she was aware of her overwhelming number of enemies who were planning to kill her, including the DEA, who was chasing her. But she wasn't aware of that one enemy she made unknowingly. To Bob Palumbo, catching Griselda Blanco was everything. Since he lost her during the operation of Banshee after 11 years, he is willing to do anything to catch her. He was aware that for Griselda Blanco, her children were her weakness, and that's where he began his investigation. He dug out information from Jerry Gomez, who was moving money from her son, and managed to make him an informant. Meanwhile, Griselda Blanco, driven by paranoia and anxiety, slid to Miami to escape her enemies and took refuge in Los Angeles. All seemed lost again for Bob Palumbo, but then Griselda Blanco herself called Jerry Gomez. After escalating the search and investigation, the DEA finally arrested her in Irvine, California on February 17, 1998. She was arrested without bail in her home, where she was found reading the Bible in her bedroom. She was sentenced to 20 years for drug trafficking. Do you think Griselda Blanco deserves the same infamy as Pablo Escobar in history? You can share your opinions in the comment section below. If you like this video, do like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Also, don't forget to hit the notification bell icon because we'll be releasing new mind-boggling videos frequently. That's it, guys. Thanks for watching.